Hi there, and welcome to this video on setting up your simulator software to ring Flying Dutchman. Now, if we look at the information sheet for Flying Dutchman, which is available from ringingteachers.org, we will see that it's also known as Churchyard Bob. However, you won't find either in Abel or in Virtual Belfry a method or composition called Flying Dutchman or Churchyard Bob. So this video is to show you how to set this up so that you can ring it with your students. Now, the benefit of Flying Dutchman is that the treble rings over the bells in order. So first it will ring over 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, which means it can be used particularly for students who have been following the numbers and they need to move on to counting places, as it's a very simple way of following bells in order. Now, what it's actually doing is it's a Grantzer start followed by a switch to plain hunt. So you can see here that in plain hunt, the 3 would normally go up to the back, but it actually comes down to the front. That's your Grantzer start. And then all the bells will start hunting. So how do we set that up? Well, first of all, if we look at Virtual Belfry, the basic procedure is to set up a composition, whereas before we've looked at methods and how to set up particular notation. In here we're going to use 2 existing methods to create a composition that will do what we want. So if we start by selecting plain hunt doubles from the list here, and we'll see that the menu pops out to the right and you get what's called a composition list. Now, there are no compositions at the moment in here, so we are going to select the composition list and we're going to add a new composition. Now, a composition can be any number of methods that are put together to follow each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a name. So we'll call it Flying Dutchman. And then we have to choose the methods that we're going to use. Now, because we selected the composition from plain hunt doubles, we've got that one in here already. It doesn't have a label though, so we need to give it a label so we can identify it within the composition. So if we select plain hunt doubles and click edit, we can give it a label, and we're simply going to say P and click OK. So we've now got a label. We're also going to add a new method, which we're going to select Grantzer doubles from the list, and we need to give it a label, so we're going to call it G. Click OK, and we now have the 2 methods that we can call on within our composition. There are other tabs here that you can put in other details if you wish. We're not going to bother. We're just going to go back to the composition. Then we want to tell it what we're going to do. Now, if we tell it by putting in a tilde, that's the curly sign, and then we say we want to start with Grantzer, and then we want to go to plain hunt. And that is basically all we have to do to set up Flying Dutchman within Virtual Belfry. We don't need to worry about keep going, which we have done in the past on other compositions and methods, because one of the anomalies about Flying Dutchman is once you have done your Grantzer start and you go into plain hunt, it will never come round. You'll never get back to rounds. So we can click OK on this, and if we now choose it as a method, now obviously we want to have a quick look at the blue line to see what it looks like, and of course we will click generate. But when you click generate, you'll find that the number of rows down here that it's generating doesn't stop, because of course it doesn't come back to round, so it doesn't know where the end of the composition or the end of the method that it's building is going to be. In Virtual Belfry, it generates 6,000 rows and then says, do you want to continue? We will say no, and then we can see the blue line. So we can see that the treble is hunting. We can see it starts on Grantzer doubles and then moves to plain hunt doubles. You can see that once it's moved and it's done its Grantzer start, that the treble is following the 2, 3, 4 and 5. If we select bell number 3, we can see that Grantzer start because the 3 has come down to lead instead of going up to the back. But we're really only worried about the treble. We'll be getting the student to select the treble and ring as the treble, and they'll follow 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will literally go on for as long as you need it to until you physically stop it. It won't ever stop at rounds. So if we select bell number 1 and we actually click go.
Go, Grantzer.
So it follows 2 and 3, 4, 5 and so on. So there we have Flying Dutchman running in Virtual Belfry. If we now look at Abel, very similar principle with Abel, just a couple of minor differences of the way you set it up. If we go and select our 5 bell methods, so we've gone to File and Open, and you by default you have 5 bell or 6 bell. We selected the 5 bell methods, and then we have to say Edit, and we're going to add a composition. And then we have 2 choices here. We have to add either a method or a call change composition. So if we say that we want to add a method composition, and then here we get the add composition window, and we have to tell it that it's going to be a call place composition. The reason for that is that if you say it's going to be a lead end composition, it will repeat Grantzer, then plain hunt, then go back to Grantzer, then to plain hunt, Grantzer and plain hunt, which is not what we want. We want it to stay ringing plain hunt once we've actually done our Grantzer start and that first change of composition. If we select call place composition, it doesn't know anything else apart from to keep going. So if we give it a name, and we'll call it Flying Dutchman again, then we have to go and select the methods that we want, and we want Grantzer doubles, so it puts in the short name for Grantzer doubles, and we can add a line here if we want to make it look better. Then we'll say we want plain hunt on 5. Stop at rounds is off. It's not relevant because we know that this composition will never get back to rounds, and we then click OK. We have bell 1 selected, so if we look at the blue line, you'll see we'll get a message similar to Virtual Belfry to say that it's truncated the touch after it's generated 60,000 rows. I'm sure that'd be more than enough for most students. And if we look at the method, we find that it is following 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on for as long as you need to run it. So it's all ready, and exactly the same. We can start ringing and click go.
Go, Grantzer.
Okay, and now the treble is following the bells in order, both up to the back and down to the front.
Plain hunt.
Okay, so if we stop it there.
Stand.
That's very simply how to set up Flying Dutchman in both Abel and Virtual Belfry. We hope this has been useful. Thanks for watching.